Hi everyone, my name is Aubrey Kamppila and I'm AWP's Conference Events Coordinator. Today I'm going to run through a short webinar on AWP's event proposal process, and I'll be covering some general information about event proposals, the different components of an event proposal, a timeline for proposals, and what happens afterwards if your event is accepted for the AWP Conference and Bookfair, and where on the AWP website you should look for information about the event proposal system. Thank you so much for watching this webinar, and I hope you find it helpful as you craft and get ready to submit your own event proposal. To begin, if you're looking for a step-by-step walkthrough through the event proposal system, there's actually another video that might be a more helpful resource for that. If you look on AWP's YouTube channel at AWP Writer, that video is called the Event Proposal Tutorial Video, and it shows you step-by-step, click-by-click, how to navigate AWP's website and the event management system on our website to go from a draft proposal to a submitted proposal. So if that's the resource that you're looking for, I'd recommend clicking away to go watch that video. And if not, you can stick with me for some more general information about event proposals. So moving on to some more general information about AWP conference events. Every year, we accept between 1,200 and 1,700 event proposals from potential presenters. Of all of those proposals, we're able to accept between 400 and 500 events for the upcoming conference, which works out to be approximately about a 30% acceptance rate. That number year to year is dependent on the convention center where the conference will be held and the amount of space that's available for events in the convention center. All of the events are selected by a city-specific conference subcommittee that's put together specifically for that upcoming conference. So a little bit more information on the conference subcommittee. Each committee is made up of 18 to 20 members, only 2 or 3 of which are AWP board members for some consistency from year to year. All other members of the subcommittee are people who represent AWP's membership in various constituencies. Each member reviews about 300 to 500 proposals, and every single proposal is reviewed by at least 4 subcommittee members. And when the subcommittee members are reviewing proposals, they look for 4 criteria, which are artistic or academic merit, value to literary community, diversity, and proposal integrity. And if you would like to read more information and all the details about how events are selected, how the subcommittee is put together, and the specifics of how they score every single event proposal, you can find that information on AWP's website on the How Events Are Selected page. And you can find that page by clicking the blue conference button at the top of the page, then clicking Event Proposals on the left-hand orange sidebar, then clicking the How Events Are Selected page to find all of that information. Next in this webinar, I'll discuss the different event roles and responsibilities that are involved in an event proposal. So if you're watching this webinar and you're getting ready to submit a proposal yourself, most likely you're going to be the event organizer. And that's the person who submits the event proposal to AWP and the person who serves as the main point of contact for AWP staff. If the event is accepted, you'll act as the liaison between AWP and your event participants to make sure that everyone knows what's happening with the event and is prepared to present it whenever you're scheduled to. The event organizer can be a participant on the event, but they don't have to be. They can just be the person who organizes everything for all of the panelists. Next is the event moderator. So this person is considered a full participant on the event and can participate in the discussion and reading just as the other presenters do. But this is the person who's designated to oversee all of the event proceedings. So they welcome everyone at the beginning of the event. They make sure that any accessibility copies are handed out to any members of the audience that might need them. And most importantly, they make sure that the event stays within the allotted time. And then finally, and maybe most obviously, are the presenters, and they're also called panelists. And these are the participants who have been added to the proposal by the event organizer. Panelists must link their AWP user accounts to the event proposal to confirm that they know that they've been added to the proposal and that they are willing to participate. Next in this webinar, I'm going to cover the different components of the event proposal as you're going through and actually submitting information in the event proposal form. So first is the event title and description, and this is how you describe your event to attendees. When the full schedule is announced in the fall, Attendees will be able to search the schedule for any key terms that might interest them. So you should think about those key terms and include them in your event title and description to attract attendees' attention to your event, should it be accepted. When you're writing your event description, make sure that you don't list your event participants, as that information will be included in a different section of the event proposal. If you're looking for some examples for titles and descriptions and you want to see past events, you can find information about past events in the conference archive section of the AWP website. And you can find that page by clicking the blue conference button at the top of the page, then over on the orange sidebar, clicking the conference archives and photo albums button. Next in the event proposal is the event category, and this is the type of event that you're proposing. So there's 3 different formats for events that you can select. There are readings, panel discussions, and new for 2022, you can select to submit a proposal for a discussion room. So discussion rooms are opportunities for presenters to engage more deeply with the attendees who come to their event. And if you submit a proposal for a discussion room, you should be prepared to share your own perspective with your attendees, to pose questions to be answered and discussed by your attendees, and to answer questions that attendees might have for you. More information about discussion rooms and about all of the categories can be found in the event proposal guidelines. And one thing that's really important to note about the event category is that proposals are only evaluated against other proposals in the same category. So for example, we wouldn't compare a fiction, craft, and criticism panel discussion to a poetry reading. All events within one category are scored and then compared to all of the other events in that category. And then all of the highest scoring events in a single category are the ones that are accepted for the conference schedule. So definitely be extra careful when you're selecting your event category, as that's a main part of how your proposal will be scored, and your proposal can score more poorly if you put it in the wrong category. So again, if you put a poetry reading in a fiction category, it won't score very highly as a fiction event. So like I said, just be extra careful when filling out that part of your proposal form. Next is your statement of value, and this is your opportunity to share why your event is important and why it should be shared with AWP attendees. This part of the proposal will be kept private and will be viewed only by the conference subcommittee. Next is the event agenda, which is a new field for 2022. And this is your opportunity to describe your preliminary plans for your event. This field and your answer for it lets the subcommittee know not only that you're thinking of the event's subject matter, but that you're also thinking about planning and executing the logistics of the event. It's okay if your plans aren't set in stone and if they might change as we move along in the conference cycle, but you should have a general idea of how long you want each presenter to speak and the different topics you'll cover, and you can describe those things in this section. This field of the proposal form will also be kept private and will only be viewed by the conference subcommittee. Another new field for 2022 is the event preference field, and this is your opportunity to indicate whether you would prefer to hold your event in person in Philadelphia or if you would prefer to pre-record it and hold it virtually. When you're selecting your event preference, be careful in selecting the correct option and make sure that you know which option you prefer, as you can't change your preference at any point after submitting your event proposal. And the reason you can't change your preference is because in-person events and virtual events require different resources and planning. And so once all of the events are evaluated and the accepted events are announced, we won't be able to switch a virtual event to in-person or vice versa. So make sure that you select the correct choice for your preference. In-person events, any in-person events that are accepted will be scheduled to be held in person in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in March 2022. Then virtual events, if they are accepted, will be pre-recorded in fall 2021 and will be made available virtually during the conference in March 2022. And if you're interested in submitting a proposal for a virtual event, I would definitely recommend checking out our new virtual conference events page, which you can find by clicking the blue conference button, then clicking event proposals on the orange sidebar, then clicking the virtual conference events page. And that has all of the information on what to expect for submitting a virtual proposal and what will happen if your virtual proposal is accepted. The next field of the proposal form is the AV field. So this is where you should indicate if you need any additional AV equipment for an in-person event. You don't need to request mics or speakers, as those things will be automatically provided. But if you need internet access, an LCD projector, or the ability to use Zoom, you should fill out the AV field and include a statement of need that describes how you'll use that equipment. One common scenario that we've had some questions about already is for those who want to propose an in-person event but have a presenter that wants to participate virtually, can both of those things happen? And the answer is yes. So if you want to have an in-person event with a virtual presenter, you'll just need to request the AV so that person can participate via Zoom while the rest of the presenters are in person in Philadelphia in March 2022. The last day to request AV is June 8th, 2021, which is also the deadline to submit proposals. So make sure that if you do think that you'll want AV for your event, that you indicate it before you submit your event proposal. The last part of the event proposal form is the event participants list. And on this list, you should include a minimum of 2 and a maximum of 5 event participants, including 1 moderator. One common question that we have is if people can add more than 5 participants, and unfortunately, we do need to stick to our 5 participant maximum. The reason is, over the years, we found that 4 or 5 participants is a really great sweet spot for events and allows everyone ample time to share their perspectives and allows for a really deep, engaging discussion. After we recorded all of the events for the 2021 virtual conference as well, we saw how easy it is for event time to get away from the presenters. And we always want to avoid situations where the last presenter or 2 are rushing to get through the material that they hope to share with their audience. So a maximum of 5, make sure that everyone has plenty of time and that the discussions and readings are really engaging. Each individual can participate on a maximum of 3 event proposals and a maximum of 2 accepted events. So if you're on 3 proposals, it's pretty rare for all 3 to be accepted, but it does happen. So if that's the case, you'll be asked to step down from one of your accepted events so that you comply with the 2 accepted event maximum. And one tip when you're entering your event participants into the list is to make sure that you enter their email addresses correctly. If there's a typo in their email address, it will probably affect their ability to receive information from AWP throughout the conference event cycle. So you'll definitely want to be sure that you've entered that correctly. If there's one field that you're going to double check on the whole proposal form, I would definitely recommend it be that one. Moving on, I'm going to cover a general event proposal timeline for the 2022 AWP Conference and Book Fair. As I mentioned, the deadline to submit event proposals is Tuesday, June 8th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. The next deadline after that is Wednesday, June 16th, and that's the deadline for participants to link their AWP user accounts to the proposal and to add or update their short biographies. You'll be able to see as the event organizer which participants have linked and which ones have added or updated their short biographies. And as those will be part of the proposal that's sent to the conference subcommittee, you'll definitely want to check in with all of your participants and make sure that they've linked by that deadline. If they're not able to link by the deadline, the proposal will be sent to the subcommittee incomplete, and it might affect the score that the subcommittee gives it. So definitely make sure that all of your participants have linked to the proposal, and if they didn't receive the email to link, you can either resend it to them from your own My Events page, or you can reach out to me at events@awpwriter.org, and I would be happy to help with the linking process. Wednesday, June 16th is also the deadline for any overcommitted participants to step down. So if anyone is on more than 3 event proposals, they'll be asked to step down from whatever number they're over that 3 proposal limit. After all of the proposals have been submitted and everyone has linked to the proposals, the conference subcommittee will evaluate all of the proposals from June to July 2021. Then in mid-August 2021, AWP will announce the list of accepted events, and late August 2021 will be the deadline for accepted events to confirm their participation for the full conference schedule. Then in fall 2021, the full schedule will be announced, and virtual events will begin the pre-recording process. Next, I'm going to cover where on the AWP website you can find different information about the event proposal process, because there's a lot of pages and a lot of information. So this is where you can find everything. First is the event proposal overview page, which you can find by going to the AWP website, then clicking the blue conference button at the top of the page, then clicking the event proposals button on the orange left-hand sidebar. This is kind of a hub for information about the proposal system. You can submit an event proposal by clicking that big teal button, and you can also find some resources for crafting your event proposal. So on this page, there's a link to a best practices guide, which has some tips and tricks for each step of the proposal process. And there's also links to videos, including the walkthrough video that I mentioned earlier, and a link to this webinar video, if you want to come back to it. On this page, there's also some key dates. So if you just need to check in on a date quickly, like remembering which day is the deadline for submitting your proposal, you can just come to the overview page and find that really quickly. Next is a really important page for submitting a proposal, and it's the proposal guidelines page. So you can find this page by clicking the blue conference button at the top of the page, clicking event proposals on the orange sidebar, then clicking the proposal guidelines page. This page has all information related to crafting and submitting an event proposal, and some key things that you should definitely check are the event timeline and the detailed descriptions of all of the categories that your event proposal might fit into. Next is another really important page, which is the presenter guidelines page. You can find it by clicking conference, then event proposals, then presenter guidelines. And this page has all of the information on what to expect if your proposal is accepted by the conference subcommittee. So information on planning the logistics of your event, how to prepare your event materials, and all of the presenter policies. Next, as I mentioned earlier, is the virtual conference events page, which you can find by clicking conference, then event proposals, then virtual conference events. And this page has all information related to submitting a proposal for a virtual event and what to expect if your proposal for a virtual event is accepted. Again, another page that I mentioned earlier is the How Events Are Selected page, which you can find by clicking Conference at the top of the page, then Event Proposals, then How Events Are Selected. And this page has detailed information related to who selects the events for every conference, how that subcommittee is put together, and how they evaluate all of the events, including details about the scoring process. There will also be a page that lists the members of the conference subcommittee that you can find by clicking the conference button, then the event proposals button, then the subcommittees page. This will be a list of the members of the 2022 subcommittee. As I'm recording this video in early May, this information is still coming soon, but hopefully when you're watching, it will be available for you to check out to see all of the people that will be evaluating the proposals for the upcoming conference and book fair. Another page that can be really useful is the conference archives page, which you can find by clicking the conference button, then on the orange sidebar, clicking conference archives and photo albums. On this page, you can view past conference schedules and individual events, which is really useful if you're looking for examples of past event titles and descriptions. On this page, you'll just need to click the drop-down menu and select whatever conference you're interested in. Then to see the schedule, you'll click Event Schedule on that individual conference's archive. And finally, if you still have questions that weren't answered on any of the other pages, you should check out the conference FAQs page, which you can find by clicking the conference button at the top of the page, then the FAQs button on the left-hand orange sidebar. If you have any questions about event proposals, check here. And if your question isn't answered on the FAQ page, you can always email me at events@awpwriter.org. If you have any questions, big or small, feel free to email me. I would just recommend emailing sooner rather than later so that I have lots of time to answer your question and give you a really full answer. Every year during the event proposal system, we have a huge influx of questions in the last week of the system and especially on the last day. So don't wait, and make sure that you can get your answer in a timely manner so you can submit your proposal on time. Thank you so much for watching this webinar and sticking with it all the way through with me. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me at events@awpwriter.org, and I would be happy to answer your questions and assist with your event proposal. Wish you the best of luck on your proposal and hope to see you in Philadelphia or virtually at the 2022 Conference and Book Fair.